In this video, we're counting down 7 of the best cities to visit in Canada, from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic Ocean. So let's begin. Number 7, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Our journey begins on Canada's Atlantic coast, in Halifax, the capital of Nova Scotia. Halifax has a completely different atmosphere from Canada's massive metropolitan cities. It's a historic waterfront city with a strong maritime identity. One of the city's most famous attractions is the Halifax waterfront, where visitors can walk along the harbor, enjoy restaurants, and experience the city's connection to the sea. Then there's the Halifax Citadel, a historic fortress overlooking the city. Halifax is also famous for its seafood, especially fresh Atlantic lobster. And if you're interested in Canada's maritime history, the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic is another major attraction. Halifax proves that you don't need enormous skyscrapers to create an unforgettable Canadian city. Number 6, Ottawa, Ontario. Next is Ottawa, Canada's national capital. Unlike Toronto or Vancouver, Ottawa is known primarily for politics, history, museums, and national landmarks. The city's most recognizable attraction is Parliament Hill, where Canada's federal government is based. But Ottawa offers much more than politics. The Rideau Canal runs through the heart of the city and becomes a spectacular winter attraction when conditions allow. The city is also home to major cultural institutions, including the National Gallery of Canada and the Canadian Museum of History. Ottawa is especially beautiful during Canada's changing seasons. In summer, the city comes alive with festivals and outdoor activities. And in autumn, the surrounding landscape becomes filled with brilliant fall colors. For travelers who want to understand Canada's history and national identity, Ottawa is an essential stop. Number 5, Calgary, Alberta. Now we're heading west to Calgary, Alberta. Calgary is where modern Canada meets the spirit of the Canadian West. The city has a reputation for being energetic, modern, and business-friendly, but its Western heritage remains an important part of its identity. One of Calgary's biggest events is the famous Calgary Stampede, a celebration featuring rodeos, entertainment, and Western culture. But perhaps Calgary's biggest advantage is its location. The city is a gateway to the Canadian Rockies. From Calgary, travelers can reach some of Canada's most spectacular mountain destinations, including Banff and Lake Louise. That means you can spend the morning exploring a modern city and, not long afterward, be surrounded by enormous mountains and turquoise lakes. For adventure lovers, Calgary is hard to ignore. Number 4, Québec City, Quebec. At number 4, we travel to one of the most historic cities in North America, Québec City. And this city feels completely different from most of Canada. Walk through Old Quebec, and you might feel as though you've suddenly been transported to Europe. Stone buildings, narrow streets, historic architecture, cafes, and French culture give the city a unique atmosphere. The historic district is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and Quebec City is famous for its fortified walls. One of its most recognizable landmarks is the Château Frontenac, overlooking the St. Lawrence River. Quebec City becomes especially magical during winter, when snow transforms the historic streets into something that looks almost like a movie set. In fact, Travel Plus Leisure readers ranked Quebec City as Canada's top city in 2025, highlighting its historic atmosphere, architecture, food, and old Quebec. If you want history, architecture, French culture, and romance, Quebec City belongs on your Canadian itinerary. Number 3, Montreal, Quebec. At number 3 is Montreal. Montreal is one of Canada's most exciting cultural cities. It's where North American energy meets French influence. The city is famous for its restaurants, music, festivals, art, architecture, and nightlife. One of the best places to explore is Old Montreal, where historic buildings and cobblestone streets create a completely different atmosphere from the modern parts of the city. Then there's Mount Royal, the natural landmark that gave Montreal its name. Food is another major reason people visit. From famous Montreal-style bagels to poutine and an enormous variety of international cuisine, the city's food culture is a destination in itself. And Montreal isn't just about sightseeing. It's a city where you can spend the afternoon exploring museums, the evening eating incredible food, and the night enjoying music or festivals. It's energetic, multicultural, and unmistakably Montreal. Number 2, Vancouver, British Columbia. At number 2, we're heading all the way to Canada's Pacific coast, Vancouver. Vancouver may have one of the most spectacular urban settings in Canada. Imagine a modern city surrounded by mountains, ocean, forests, and beaches. That's Vancouver. One of its most famous attractions is Stanley Park, a huge urban park located right next to downtown. The city's waterfront also provides incredible views of the mountains and Pacific Ocean. But Vancouver's biggest advantage is the combination of city life and outdoor adventure. You can explore restaurants, shopping districts, and museums in the morning, then go hiking, cycling, kayaking, or exploring the mountains later in the day. Vancouver consistently appears among Canada's most popular and highly regarded cities for travelers. Recent Canadian city rankings placed it near the very top. It's modern, multicultural, scenic, and surrounded by nature. But there's still one city left. Number 1, Toronto, Ontario. And at number 1 is Toronto. Toronto is Canada's largest city and one of the country's most diverse urban centers. The first thing you'll notice is the skyline. And dominating that skyline is the CN Tower, one of Canada's most recognizable landmarks. But Toronto isn't just about skyscrapers. The city is made up of countless neighborhoods, each with its own personality. You can experience food and cultures from around the world without leaving the city. Toronto also has major attractions such as the Royal Ontario Museum, the Art Gallery of Ontario, waterfront areas, shopping districts, professional sports, theaters, and countless restaurants. And there's another major advantage. Toronto is an excellent base for exploring southern Ontario, including the famous Niagara Falls region. For first-time visitors who want a combination of big city energy, culture, entertainment, food, and diversity, Toronto is difficult to beat.